Coming up on ABC 7 News at noon, we are following a breaking news story. 5 students injured in a fire at Woodson High School. We will have complete coverage about what happened, the condition of the students, and the school's response. Again, big breaking news this noon. A fire at Woodson High School injures 5 students in a chemistry lab. That story on the News at News, which is next.
From ABC 7 News, this is a breaking news alert.
And that breaking news this noon is from Woodson High School in Fairfax County. 5 students taken to the hospital after a fire. Now, this is a live look right now at the scene from News Chopper 7. You see all those students on the football field. Our Suzanne Kennedy is live at the school this noon with what we are learning. Suzanne?
Well, Jimmy, we are getting ready right now for a briefing that we're going to receive from both the police department and the fire department about exactly what happened here. Let's take you back to about 9:40 this morning. That's when this all started happening here in a chemistry lab here at the high school. It was 7th period when some sort of a fire started inside the chem lab. We're not exactly sure how that fire got started. What we know right now is that 5 students were injured. 2 of them received life-threatening injuries. 3 of them were transported by ground to Inova Fairfax Hospital. The life-threatening injuries, those folks were transported to the Washington Hospital Center's burn unit. We did get a chance to talk to a student and a parent, and here's what they had to say.
The fire alarm went off, and I thought it was just a drill, but we heard from people that someone caught on fire, and then we realized it was serious. I just went to my car and drove over here to see what was going on, but it's crazy.
It's always, concerning when you get a text that the school's been evacuated because of a fire. When I heard it was in the chemistry lab, I initially thought it would have been a gas fire, but at least, based upon the limited information I heard in the stands, and obviously there are a lot of rumors going around, it sounds like it was more a chemical event than a gas event.
Taken by ambulance to Inova Hospital to be checked out there.
We also know that a teacher was injured in this incident. However, the teacher remained here on the scene. This was an early dismissal day for students, so what they did is they evacuated them, and they remain over my right shoulder here at the football stadium. All of them are being kept there until what was scheduled to be a 12:55 dismissal this afternoon. Parents were notified of the incident by way of a text. They were told that there was a fire in the chemistry lab, and were told of the extent of the injuries. We, of course, are staying on top of this situation. We'll bring you that briefing when it happens live within the next 10 minutes. Reporting live in Fairfax, Virginia, Suzanne Kennedy, ABC 7 News.
All right, Suzanne, thank you. We will check back in with you in just a few minutes, but certainly this was a frightening scene at Woodson High School, and it's getting a lot of attention on social media this noon. Our team coverage continues with Josie Sturman live in our newsroom. Josie?
Well, Jimmy, very difficult to get close to this scene, so the people who tweeted out videos and pictures had to be close by right after this happened. We're seeing some of the images that came through on social media, including this one, somebody putting on Instagram, this is a big fire, and then putting out this video showing the emergency response to Woodson High School this morning. You see the fire trucks rolling in, ambulances rolling in. They put all hands on deck for a situation like this at the high school, and you can see a little bit of chaos too as these people arrive, people standing outside trying to find out exactly what's happened. And even, these are high school kids we're talking about. They say the school is lit. Hope everyone's okay. These students basically tweeting about their activity. And we are continuing to follow this Twitter feed from WT Woodson High School. 26 minutes ago, they said they were still waiting for Fairfax Fire and Rescue to give them the all clear to go back into the building. We're going to keep monitoring this social media channel as well as others, and we'll bring you the latest images and video that we find. Jimmy, back to you.
All right, Josie, thank you. And we want to remind our viewers to continue to follow this breaking news throughout the day, and we will be sure to stay on top of any breaking news updates. You can too by signing up for our text alerts. Just go to WJLA.com/text and then enter your cell phone number. Well, Arlington police made an arrest in the stabbing death of a mother and her estranged husband is the suspect. Bonnie Black was murdered and her young children were found wandering in the yard back in April. Well, this morning, David Black was set to appear in court, but he waived his arraignment. Black is charged with murder and burglary while armed. His pre-trial hearing is set for November 5th. To Fairfax County now, where jury deliberations continue for a second day now in the Charles Severance trial. He's charged with the murders of Ruth Ann Lodato, Ronald Kirby, and Nancy Dunning. Yesterday, the jury asked the judge for more information, including more copies of jury instructions. Jurors also asked for more supplies, including highlighters, an easel, and tape. And our ABC 7 Northern Virginia Bureau Chief, Jeff Goldberg, is at the courtroom right now. He will bring us any new developments as they come into the newsroom. You can also get updates by following Jeff on Twitter. His account there is at ABC7 Jeff G. New this noon, a big announcement expected today from the White House. Reuters reporting that the U.S. will send 20 to 30 special operations forces to Syria. They will serve as military advisors in the fight against ISIL. We'll continue to follow this story, bring you the latest tonight, beginning on ABC 7 News starting at 4 o'clock. Meantime, the U.S. Senate approving a budget deal, putting a stop to a looming government shutdown. This morning's vote was 64 to 35. Now, the bill already cleared the House and now goes to President Obama, who is expected to sign it. The budget increases federal spending on defense and domestic programs more than $80 billion for the next 2 years. It also suspends the nation's debt limit through March of 2017. Well, this noon, D.C. police are looking for the gunman behind a deadly shooting in Southeast. Officers say they got a call for a shooting just after 1 o'clock this morning on V Street. There, they found a man suffering from several gunshot wounds. We're told he died at the hospital. That man's name has not been released. And a Maryland state trooper recovering this noon after his patrol car was struck by a hit-and-run driver. This crash happened around 4 o'clock this morning on the outer loop right near Forestville Road in Camp Springs. The driver took off but was later arrested. That trooper suffered non-life-threatening injuries. Taking a live look outside right now at the U.S. Capitol. Plenty of folks want to know if the weather will cooperate for all those trick-or-treaters and Halloween events happening tomorrow. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hill is here with a look at that first forecast. Doug?
Hey there, Jimmy, and bright sunshine and blue skies outside the Belford Furniture Weather Center here in Arlington. In fact, beautiful clear skies all across the region. Let's start you off with a live look at our HD WeatherBug camera at Chesapeake Beach, Maryland. That's in northern Calvert County. Absolutely gorgeous. Very light winds right now and crystal clear skies. See all the way across the bay to Tillman Island and beyond. Temperatures right now holding in the middle 50s. We'll see an additional rise of 4 or 5 degrees during the afternoon, but it's very cool and dry air. We'll continue to have a bit of a west-northwesterly breeze, about 5 to 10 miles per hour. 60 for a high in the city today, 58 degrees in the northern suburbs. Just a little bit cooler as we head off to the north and the west, but I think everybody's going to enjoy very similar weather conditions. Satellite and radar shows things clearing out really nicely, so we've got high pressure building in and we'll be in good shape. The weekend for you, tomorrow we'll see a lot of sunshine into the afternoon hours, highs near 60. We will see some increasing cloudiness through the evening hours, and then on to Sunday, it looks like we'll become mainly cloudy, a bit milder in the mid-60s, a 30% chance of showers by the afternoon and evening. And for the kids trick-or-treating, before you turn the clocks back late tomorrow night, the weather will be just fine. Cloudy skies and temperatures in the lower 50s. We'll check out the weekend and beyond in more detail coming up in a few minutes, Jimmy.
All right, Doug, thank you. On other weather news, several reported tornadoes left damage in parts of Texas today. And in counties near San Antonio, a flood emergency forced people to evacuate homes. Officials are investigating the extent of the damage and to see if anyone was injured. Well, let's get a check of the roadways now. Jamie Sullivan joins us with a look at traffic this morning. Hey, Jamie.
You know, Jumi, we're seeing a lot of heavy volume heading southbound on 95. Heads up for you. This is what you'll happen to get into heading south right near the Occoquan. So once you cross and continue closer towards Woodbridge, that's where you get a little bit of relief. Let's talk about how slow we actually are as we move to the maps. Basically, again, it is the stretch between Lorton continuing south towards Woodbridge at about 7 miles per hour. Now, as far as the Capitol Beltway goes, we are clear in Virginia, getting closer to the Wilson Bridge. No delays through Annandale, continuing north on the inner loop. No delays at all getting to the GW Parkway. So you can see we are mostly in the green. I do want to move to Maryland and talk 270 through Montgomery County. Not too bad. Working your way through Bethesda, continuing a little bit further north towards Gaithersburg. It's actually in Gaithersburg that you drop down to 8 miles per hour. That is with an accident on 355 southbound. It's right at Shady Grove Road. Only the left lane gets by. And because of the accident, fuel spill happened. So with that, a lot of emergency crews on scene. That is a look at traffic this afternoon. Jumi, back to you.
All right, Jamie, thank you. Coming up here on ABC 7 News at noon, it wasn't the thrill one skydiver expected. What went wrong that left him dangling from a plane? And it's back. What we are learning about an aggressive owl known for attacking people on a popular trail. And we continue to follow that big breaking news from Fairfax. 5 students rushed to the hospital after a fire at Woodson High School. An update in just a few minutes. A Polish court rejected a bid by the U.S. to extradite film director Roman Polanski. The U.S. wants the Academy Award-winning director to face charges for having sex with a 13-year-old girl back in the 1970s. Polanski admitted to having sex with the minor, but left the U.S. in 1977 to avoid sentencing as part of a plea agreement. Today, a Polish court said its law forbids extradition to America. FAA and NTSB officials are on the scene investigating what caused a plane to just burst into flames on a runway in Florida. It happened yesterday as 101 passengers and crew members were about to take off on a Dynamic Airways flight from Fort Lauderdale to Venezuela. According to a newly released audio recording, a plane just behind it noticed fuel leaking from the aircraft's wing just before that fire started.
They will be looking at maintenance records, talking with the people that worked on the aircraft, talking with the flight crews. There might even be some interviews with passengers later on today.
The runway is reopened and the plane has been removed from the taxiway. More than 24 people, including one child, were taken to the hospital with injuries. And some terrifying moments for a skydiver overseas. Come take a look at this, all caught on camera. Fernando Gava's jumpsuit pant leg got caught in the step he used to throw himself out of the plane. It left him dangling from the aircraft. Gava cut the leg section of his jumpsuit and deployed his second parachute, landing safely. Wow, unbelievable. Well, now we've got an update to a story we first told you about a few weeks ago. Remember that aggressive owl that was attacking people along the Capitol Crescent Trail in Bethesda? Well, it appears the owl has struck again. An official with Montgomery Park told Bethesda Magazine that the owl attacked 3 more people on Tuesday, and in 2 of the incidents, stole the victims' hats. Earlier this month, the owl attacked 3 joggers. Since then, warning signs were posted all along that trail. Well, we are now just a day away from Halloween, but some retailers are already thinking ahead to Christmas. Some holiday sales are kicking off this weekend, and our Jeanette Reyes explains the reason for the early push.
Well, it's not even Halloween, and we're already talking about Christmas. Well, some stores are hoping to cash in on the early start. The country is moving from candy corn to candy cane in less than 48 hours. A number of stores are already unveiling their 2015 holiday shopping plan. Retail giant Walmart seems to be kicking off the busy season with easier online shopping and 15% more online sales than last year. Target is also offering free shipping and returns on its website. Stores are hoping to draw customers, even though the National Retail Federation says consumers have a tight grip on their wallets. But some businesses aren't exactly taking this approach.
We don't like them. I mean, you would think that a Christmas shop would be excited that Christmas.
All right, we want to get to the press conference happening outside Woodson High School.
Yes, it's Fire Chief Bowers, and that's B-O-W-E-R-S. He's from Fairfax County Fire and Rescue Department. We've got the police chief from Fairfax County Police Department here. Again, that is Colonel Edwin Rossler, and that's R-O-E-S-S-L-E-R. And we have Dr. Frances Ivy from the county public school system here in Fairfax County. She's the Region 5 Assistant Superintendent. The spelling of her name is Frances, F-R-A-N-C-E-S. Last name Ivy, I-V-E-Y.
Can you give us like a 1-minute heads up, or are we going to do it right now?
We're ready now if you all are ready. Okay, I'm going to have the police chief and the fire chief step in along with the Dr. Frances Ivy. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. And it is still morning. Chief?
It's the afternoon, Chief.
Okay, it's afternoon. Thank you. Richard Bowers, R-I-C-H-A-R-D, Bowers, B-O-W-E-R-S, Fairfax County Fire and Rescue Department Fire Chief. Early this morning, about 9:40, we had an incident that was reported via 911 from H.T. Woodson High School that there was a fire in the building. The school did exactly what they were supposed to do. They evacuated the structure. Our fire response units and our medic units responded to the scene. Arrived on the scene, the first engine reported an active fire in a classroom in one of the chemistry classroom areas of the school. They were greeted, unfortunately, with several students that were injured. 2 of them were transported via helicopter to the Washington Burn Center, and they are now at the Burn Center in what we will describe right now from the preliminary reports in serious condition with serious injuries. They are not life-threatening injuries. The remaining students that were injured, the 3 others, were then treated and also transported to a nearby hospital. There was one other exposure injury, and that was to a staff here at H.T. Woodson High School. That person was treated, cared for, and not transported at this time. Preliminarily, the investigation reveals that a classroom activity was occurring during school hours. Subsequently, a fire, chemical of nature, did occur, and as I indicated, there were several injuries. The fire is still under investigation. We have numerous investigative support here at the scene, certainly with great support from the Fairfax County Fire Rescue Police Department. Our hazmat units are also on the scene to help with mitigation, and we expect that to occur for several hours to come. I am also happy to report that with the great practice of fire drills and the execution of the fire drill, all the students were safely evacuated into their area that they were designated for. And at this time, we have no further reports of injuries whatsoever to the remaining students. That pretty much concludes the briefing. I'd like to turn it over to Chief Rosser if he has anything he'd like to. Can I let Chief Rosser give his quick briefing and then I'll come back? Thank you.
Firstly, on behalf of the public safety family of Fairfax County and Fairfax County government, our hearts go out to the students that were injured, the staff that were injured, and all the parents and everyone in the community. We hope for their speedy recovery, and our prayers and thoughts are with all of them at this time. From a police perspective, as Chief Bowers indicated, there is no evidence of criminal activity, and this appears to be a chemical fire accident in nature at this point in time. And the Fire Marshal's office has the primary investigative lead on this with support from the police department. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chief,
now take questions. Thank
Chief,
you.
Were
yes,
any
ma'am.
of these students in Halloween costumes?
Not to my knowledge, no, sir.
Chief, was this a routine chemistry experiment, or were the kids playing around?
To the best of my knowledge, they were in a classroom activity, and that's all that we can report at this time.
Chief, one
yes,
of the parents of one of the injured students says that if they were experimenting with changing colors of fire and that the injured were in the front row of the classroom, can you confirm that at all?
No, ma'am, I cannot. As indicated, everything is preliminary with the investigation. Again, what we know, 5 injuries, 2 of those injuries are serious burn injuries, but I do not know the specific activity.
Can you give us the gender of the students, the 2 more severely injured boys, girls, and the 3 transported?
I cannot comment at this time simply because we want to make sure the families have been notified appropriately through the school system to the families.
Do your people consult with the schools on what kind of chemical experiments are safe to conduct in a school?
Well, the school has a curriculum that they certainly practice safe activities. I can't say that we directly communicate with them, but I will say that they do know how and what to do in their classroom activities, and they're very, very safe.
Chief, were there any efforts made to extinguish the fire by the teacher or to render aid to the students who were injured, or was this immediately just an evacuation of the students out of the classroom?
To really respond to your question, it was all the above. With respect to notifying 911, evacuating, and also providing immediate care in terms of school staff. They did a magnificent job. They did exactly what we have asked them to do, which is notify 911, do what you can to prevent further harm, and then thirdly, get out of the school, which they did.
Did the 911 call come from the teacher in the classroom, or students in the classroom, or someone outside the classroom?
I'm sorry, I cannot confirm right now how the 911 call was received.
Chief,
Can we go
was
back
this
to
an explosion, or was this, we've heard a story, I have no idea if there's any truth to it, that the student's hair may have caught on fire?
To answer your question about explosion, not to my knowledge at all. All right. As far as specific injuries, no, I can only tell you it was a burn injury. Can't tell you about hair or anything.
Okay, but it was a chemical, some kind of a chemical fire, is that correct?
Hang on 1 minute. Hang on 1 minute, Bruce.
Let me just finish.
It's okay.
Yeah. So this is not an explosion, but they were doing some kind of a chemical experiment. So there's a chemical that caught on fire?
Again, preliminary in the investigation, we know that we had a chemical fire. Whether that was a reaction or whether it was something that actually caught fire, I cannot comment on because I don't know and I don't want to be speculative. I only want to give you facts.
You say there was maybe a flash? How did these kids get hurt?
No, I'm sorry, I can't. I mean, I don't know the physical place that everybody was at. I did get my eyes on the room in which the fire occurred, but I cannot tell you the physical layout.
Can you describe what the room looks like?
It's a general classroom that's a chemistry lab, and it has some damage to it.
We had heard at one point that one of the students had burns over 23% of her body. Can you speak any more about those injuries and the good news that they're not life-threatening?
I can't speak to the 23%, only to say that there was a chemical fire and there's chemical burns. I don't know to what percent. The second is because of the excellent treatment that was provided initially, as well as with the first response firefighter medics that got here, and then subsequently the transfer to our police helicopter and medevac to the burn center. They are doing very well.
Chief, we're in the business of details, and it may seem common to you what the room looked like, but could you just describe for us what you saw in the classroom, maybe percentage of the room that was burned, where it was in the room, just a little greater details of what you had eyes on?
And I can appreciate your question. However, I hope that at the same time we are also concerned about details, and with an investigation going on, I don't want to make sure, or I want to make sure I don't give inaccurate information one way or the other. So with respect to your question, I can't tell you.
When will you have details?
The investigation is ongoing.
Okay.
All right. It could be a matter of hours. It could be days. I don't know. We've got to make sure, number one, that the children, kids, young adults that were injured, that they're taken care of. Second, we want to make sure that the school children and adults that are still in the school or were in the school are safe, which they are. And then third, we want to make sure the staff here is good. We will conduct the investigation over a period of time.
Do you know if it was the teacher who was showing an example of something, or were the students doing a hands-on experiment?
I don't know. No, ma'am. I'm sorry, I don't know.
Chief, do you have any indication if students and faculty will be going back into the building at all today, or will they just remain until they're dismissed?
I'll leave that to the school officials. I understand they had an early dismissal, though, anyhow today. But if you want to answer that.
Chief, real quick, though.
All right, so that news conference going on right now. We'll continue to listen in, but for now, we want to head to our Horace Holmes. He is live at Inova Fairfax Hospital, where some of those students were taken. Horace?
Jimmy, Inova Fairfax is the hospital closest to Woodson High School that can handle these kinds of cases. We understand in talking to hospital officials that there are 3 students here, 3 patients. At this point, hospital officials are still gathering information on the conditions of those patients and will brief us a little bit later on. And when we get that information, we'll pass it back on to you. Reporting live from Fairfax, Horace Holmes, ABC 7 News. Jimmy?
All right, Horace, thank you. As you can see, we've got team coverage. We'll continue to stay on this story. You can always follow us online for the latest you see from News Chopper 7 right now. It appears the students who are on the football field, Doug, are now maybe starting to head in. We know they've got that early dismissal in about 30 minutes.
All righty. Weather is fine today, a little bit on the cool side, but that's what we expect for the end of the month of October. Let's give you a quick look at what's happening around the area right now. 56 degrees, that's the current temperature at Reagan National Airport as we look at conditions in Alexandria right now. Temperatures across the board continue in the mid-50s, and we'll see the numbers only slowly change this afternoon, perhaps as high as 62 degrees for for an afternoon high temperature. A bit of a breeze out there, too. So you're in the sunshine, it'll be fine, but shady areas might be a bit on the chilly side. Want to remind you through the weekend that we're really looking pretty good. A lot of sunshine tomorrow, few afternoon and evening clouds, 60 degrees, milder mid-60s on Sunday. And then we'll see a possibility of some showers by Sunday afternoon and Sunday evening. We'll remind you, too, that we turn the clocks back 1 hour before we go to bed tomorrow night. But before any of that, trick-or-treat time for the kids, and that means weather conditions are a concern. And I can tell you right now, not a whole lot to worry about. We'll have some clouds, but the winds will be fairly light. The sun sets at 6:09, and we'll see temperatures dropping into the 50s throughout the Saturday evening. Much warmer weather next week. I think many days next week will be in the low to mid 70s. So a warm-up coming our way.
Okay, we like that, Doug. Right. Thank you, and thank you for joining us. We've got more of that breaking news coverage from Woodson High School in Fairfax live on News Channel 8. You can always get the latest on WJLA.com. We will see you back here for ABC 7 News starting at 4 o'clock for the very latest.